fast away the old year passes. Grab a greatsword, wreck some asses. Welcome back, everybody. This is Un, and this is I Played a Thing, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. And assuming this goes up according to schedule, which I hope it will, this will be the final episode of 2015. We're about to move into a new year, which will hopefully bring us to bigger, better, wonderful things. But for the moment, we've got to try and finish up with Broom Tower. We're getting fairly close to the end of it, and we do have a couple of rather savage boss fights on our hand at the end of Broom Tower, two of the hardest ones in the entirety of the game. So there may be some train wreckery there. I am hoping to keep it to a minimum, but of course I can always cut down repeated deaths, leave them out if need be. Maybe do a little death montage if we get into an Artorias or a Manus type situation. But as you can probably guess from where I am right now, we do have a something to trade away. And it is yet another old whip. Now that is not terrifically exciting, but you know what, I did finally get the Channeler's Trident, which I had kind of been hoping for, so I can deal with it. And I think that's really about all we have to do in terms of prelims today. Oh, had a little frame rate hit there. Hopefully that is not a sign of things to come. I think we're more or less okay to move on at this point. What have we got here? We want to go to the foyer, our sort of central nexus bonfire for Broom Tower. And we can start moving onward and forward. Now, you may remember one of the most recent things we did in terms of things actually resembling progress was we picked up a key. And that key can be used over here to find a Nadalia, but we are in no hurry to do that. That is the one we're going to save for last, and we do need to save one for last. Reason being, we have got 5 Nadalias that we have to destroy yet, but we only have 4 remaining wedges. And 4 of those remaining Nadalias are going to be right around the boss arena. And we don't want them interfering with us when we have one of the boss fights that's already among the hardest in the game to contend with. So yeah, we're gonna want to make sure we keep 4 wedges for around the boss arena. And that's about all there is to it. Now that giant over there, where does that one go? I cannot for the life of me remember where this one actually leads. Be wary of money bags. Yeah, I know this isn't where I need to go right now, but I'm not entirely sure where it does go, so... Okay, nope, I think I've got it. I think this one actually is progress. So let's go look at the other direction first. Or you know what, I could be wrong about that. Hurrah for key indeed. Dash and then jumping I don't think is strictly important. Yeah, at this point, the tower map becomes fairly straightforward, so I don't really have notes on this section. And what do we see down there? It looks like a possessed armor. Praise Jah, more herb. Okay, yeah, that's actual progress toward the end of the level. I think what we've got right here is merely the entrance to the co-op dungeon. Yeah, that is exactly what that appears to be. Make sure there's nothing else important lying around, and... yes, the Iron Passage. And the game does kindly provide a bonfire right here, so you can repeatedly tackle the co-op dungeon if you need to, and in most situations you probably will need to. Just like with the Cave of the Dead, I imagine we probably will attempt this challenge dungeon at some point, probably after we're done with the main thread of the DLC. However, I do not promise success. Oddly enough, the way this particular co-op dungeon is laid out, the Iron Passage has two branching paths near the beginning of it, and another branching path toward the middle, and if you take the appropriate branches, you can bypass most of the entire co-op dungeon. It's really weird that way. And so, if we do it that way, we might actually have a decent shot at it. But we will see when the time comes. And the boss is definitely more manageable than the Gank Squad, especially if you have help. But unlike the Gank Squad, it's really kind of reasonably doable, even solo. Of course, if I end up actually trying it, I will probably eat my words on that, but, you know, that's how it is around here. I've kind of lost track of where I am. What's this direction? No, that's where we got the key. I don't need the key. Where's the door? There's the door. That's what we need. And yeah, this is going to lead us toward the end of Broom Tower. I don't think there's very much left to go at all. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, we are wearing the Executioner set today, with the usual exception of our engraved gauntlets. Oh man, someone put a message on the back of the giant statue over there. I'm not sure how they got there. Possibly hacks. Anyway, yes, we're getting into the depths of Broom Tower here, where there's more ash than actual flame and things like that, but what the hell did I just do? Right, we need to go down from here. Yes, even under such simple circumstances, it is possible for me to get lost and confused. Now then. And we're going up here. And we were taking the other giant down. Yes. Lots of messages here. Good luck. Still don't know what the money bags is about. Anyway, I keep losing my train of thought, as I've been meaning to say. It's a cooler, ashier part of Broom Tower, but we're still going to want to armor ourselves against the heat, so wearing a nice cool outfit today. Is this going to come to life on me? It doesn't appear that way. But it looks like there's a little landing we can get just above us if I am careful about it, so let's see what there is to be found here. I honestly don't remember. Well, according to this message, it's a ring of some sort, so surely we'll want to collect that. Really looks like there ought to be some sort of enemy here, but there doesn't appear to be. Oh, there's someone down there. And we have a strength ring. Ooh, he's got fiery weapons. We don't want to mess with that, do we? So we will take the coward's way out. I'm not too proud. I think we're reasonably safe at the moment. Let me go ahead and have a look at that ring. An oddly deformed iron ring increases the strength of its wearer. The old Iron King ruled over a great age of iron. The king's power allowed him to mold iron freely, as if he held sway over the forces of life and creation. Now, that is just a straight-up stat boost accessory. Nothing terribly innovative or anything like that, but could be valuable if you want a few extra points of strength for one purpose or another. Dry overwhelming? I don't exactly know what that means, but okay. Composure required. Where does all this actually lead? Oh, okay, this all comes around to the same place you would get to if you just took the giant elevator straight down, so we're on the right track. And I know I saw another duder down here somewhere. Ah, a couple of duders. Well, no point in inviting direct conflict when we can just do one of these. Oh, that guy's a level down. No wonder I'm not hitting him. Now we just need to get another shot at this guy, so I can find a decent perspective on him. That'll do. I do hear lots and lots of Iron Soldier noises, so a lot of these guys around, it sounds like. But that's okay, because it looks like the game is just lining them up for us to take them down with a relatively low amount of trouble. And when it's just mook enemies, I'm willing to be cheesy. No point in letting ourselves get mobbed. Let's see if we can get this guy out into a little more hittable position. Come on, I'm over here. Expose something more than your leg. Oh, what are you going over there for? You're gonna make this difficult for me. That's more like it. No, don't go under me. That's not better at all. Nice fat critical there. Never gonna argue with those. Anything else here? Nope. Yes, very helpful message here. It's pretty conspicuous, but the dark area of floor there, if you walk on that, you're gonna crash right through. Just sort of like the other charred version of floor here has already been crashed through. And if I recall correctly, there are multiple weakened areas of floor right over the other, so if you step on this, you will crash through multiple floors, and I think you will end up in a room with an Iron Warrior bearing down on you, so that is not the most gorgeous situation, and one to be avoided if at all possible. No, we will take the slow way down, I think. By the way, crashing through multiple floors, I believe, will not kill you with fall damage, because the crashings do interrupt your fall, but again, it puts you in a disadvantageous situation, and nobody wants that. Anyone else we can snipe from here? No? Then we won't. I heard a big foom fiery sound. I think that might be the Iron Warrior venting his pauldrons. Anyone we can hit from up here? It does not appear to be so. Well, except maybe this guy. A little further down, but still a valid target. Can we get that last hit in? We can. Well, yeah, I suppose a jump attack would have been viable there, but well, this way is even safer, so nanny boo-boo. Whoops. Slipped down a little quicker than I intended there, but that's okay. This guy may have fiery axes, but he's still just an axeman at heart. And we get an upgraded partisan for some reason. Lots of partially upgraded weapons around here. I'm not sure what the deal is with those, but... well, I suppose if they're convenient for you, they're convenient for you. Gotta be a little careful about how we fall here, otherwise we might plunge down further than we need to right away. Ranged battle would be a fairly good idea here. I wonder if there are any iron soldiers waiting to come up out of the floor or anything like that. Whoa, this guy's getting aggressive. Yeah, you know what? The sensible thing to do here would be to use the recommended ranged combat and just take this guy out with a lengthy sniping session, but I would just feel a little too cheesy about that, so let's go ahead and get the drop on him. And we'll fight like we're supposed to. Just like any old Iron Warrior, he's nice and slow and telegraphed, so as long as we're not too careless, we should be just fine. And I don't believe the mace guys can drop the giant club appropriately enough, but I really do want one of those at some point, so I may have to come back and farm some of the Iron Warriors at some point, see if the game will be nice and drop one for me. Thank you, messages. And I think this here might just open out into the final chamber before our next boss fight. Oh, no, not yet. No, we've got a slightly special concern here, which is a passage that's got some possessed armors in it. And the nearest Nadalias near the boss arena are a little bit far away, but they're still in range to resurrect these guys. So we're not going to want to fight it out with these possessed armors, because they will just be revived again in a few seconds. I think there might be a treasure or such lurking around here, though. Yeah, dashing through is good advice, for exactly the reasons I just recommended. No, there is no ladder ahead. Nope. Got no time for you, my friend. Got no time for you either. Got no time for you. You are buffed. So I guess the Nadalias have buff here, too. Let's see if we can get this looted without getting ourselves in trouble. Yep, sorcery clutch ring. Just like that lightning clutch ring that we attained before. We'll look at that when we get a somewhat better position for ourselves. Hurrah for dash. Later, shitheads. And here we are. You can see that fog gate in the distance. We are now approaching a big nasty boss fight. You can see the glow of several ashen idols hidden around the boss arena. And one of them had defensive buff powers, as you could see from that one iron soldier up in the passageway leading here. And one of them has the resurrection power and can revive those, possessed armors above us. But most importantly, all four of them have the healing power. They have a warmth-like effect which does reach into the boss arena, and so if you leave any of the four, you will have to make sure you kind of herd the boss away from them at all times so that he is not being healed. That is not a desirable situation at all, and we want to do away with that at all costs. Now, over on the left and over on the right, at each branch of this sort of round surrounding area, we do have some Iron Warriors hiding in the ashes. However, if you stay close to the central structure here, you will not trigger them. So we can do our stabbing in peace. Visions of weapon. Oh yeah, there appears to be a sword stuck in the ground in the arena there. That might have some relevance to us of some kind. I suppose we'll be seeing in the near future. Just gonna stay close to that central area, make sure we don't trigger any Iron Warriors we don't have to. Silence, woman! I suppose he's a little rotund. Alright, that is 2 down surrounding the boss arena, and 2 to go on the other side. More importantly, on the other side, we do have a bonfire waiting for us, and that's going to be a very good thing because this boss fight is no joke. Oh god, is it no joke. I saw there was another incinerated corpse over here with a message on it. Maybe there's a treasure on it. Nope, just a man. Alright, we'll get back to the center here again and administer another wedgie. Oh! Scared the shit out of me. I did not realize I had activated this guy. Oh, man, that ain't good. Drinky time. You go ahead and swing, my friend. Oh. Perhaps I should not have baited him. Okay, folks, one moment please. I'm just gonna get us right on back to where we left off. Hey, how about that? The mace guys can drop the smelter hammer. Interesting. I was not aware. Well, let us take a look at that real quick, like. Should be among the great hammers. Where are they hiding? There we are. Look at that. To wield this thing one-handed, it is a 70 strength requirement. Nothing in the game is as high. It is a weapon wielded by the Iron Warriors that wander Broom Tower. Appears to have once been an axe, but in this terribly melted state, it is little more than a great lump that crushes its foes by virtue of its sheer weight. Well, we will want to check out some of its wacky movesets somewhere down the line, but for the moment, we are just going to try and take care of our immediate business here. And I am honestly not sure if we've killed the Resurrection Nadalia or not, so we are going to go ahead and charge through here again and not get hung up on the whole business there. And it looks like we did get rid of the one that was doing the defensive buff, so that's a plus. We'll have to resummon the elevator, though. My invincibility frames wore out at just the wrong time there. But a single Iron Soldier is no particular threat. Thanks, message. Alright, down we go once again into the very deepest ground level of Broom Tower. Hopefully to not die in any embarrassing and stupid ways this time. This time I'm going to dash right across into the middle, and I am going to hug that middle for all I'm worth, and hopefully we will not activate the Iron Warrior this time, and avoid any similar shenanigans. Oh hey, there's my bloodstain. Did he come out? No, this time he did not come out. So let's go ahead and use our last wedge. And we have claimed one more Natty Nugget. Now, you may recall that we have one more Nadalia to go, behind the place where we inserted the Scorching Iron Scepter to power up Broom Tower. But we are all out of wedges. Now, what are we going to do about that? The answer is an optional boss that we will be tangling with later. Not the one that we're going to be taking on in the arena here. That is a required boss to actually complete the main path of the DLC, but we're going to have an optional one, and we're going to have some fun with him, and he's going to be the source of our last smelter wedge. Aw. Recover our corpse, because we did have some nice souls in it. Raw for leg. I don't know what you're on about, message. But I know this is a bonfire, and a very important one, because the boss we're about to tangle with is a stone bitch. As a matter of fact, spending some of these souls would be no bad thing if I have a good reason to do it. And isn't that convenient? We have just enough for a level. So, it's as good a time as any for a quick jog back to dear old Majula. Howdy, Harold.
Bearer until...
Let's see. Some adaptability would be a good idea. We do still want to continue raising that agility as much as we can to get the maximum iframes out of our rolls. Of course, as you all know, I am not a brilliant dodge roller, but when I do try and dodge through things, I want as much advantage as I can get out of it. Now, it would also be a good idea to pop one of our copious effigies here, in case we can get any nice summons. NPC summons are not particularly good against the upcoming boss, but if we can get a human partner, that could be a big help indeed. Also, I'm going to want to bring along a few of our highest quality consumables. Let's see. Where's the shrooms? Where's the shrooms? There's the shrooms. And we should also bring along the bright bugs, just in case we end up having to solo this bad boy. Bright bugs are very precious, very expensive, and so you're starting to get the impression of why this boss is so respected. As a matter of fact, the boss that we're about to tackle is generally considered the most difficult in the entire game. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that, but there's an excellent case for it. And we have a summon sign here. Oh, this is an NPC summon. I got excited there for a moment for no good reason. Now, Steelheart Ellie, we brought her along to the fight with, what was her name? Ilana, the Squalid Queen. She was not terrifically helpful, but a little bit helpful, and we can summon her here again, and we do have one other choice we could make in terms of NPC friends. Closer to the actual fog gate. And that is our old Majula buddy, Carillion of the Fold. Now, he is particularly unhelpful in the upcoming boss fight, because he is a mage and he tends to die real quick. This boss is a very heavy hitter, so Carillion doesn't tend to stand up for very long, can't provide distraction for very long, and the boss gets lots of extra HP for having him along. Not the most gorgeous situation at all. Which is too bad, because I think it is pretty damn cool that you get an opportunity to bring one of your Majula friends into combat with you. Something we don't normally get to do. I'm gonna pop back to the bonfire real quick, just one more time. Make sure no one has dropped a summon sign, because, again, I could really use a non-AI friend here. Nope. Despite it being late in the evening, it is a weekday, so it does not look like we're going to be getting any such advantages this time. Ah well. Perhaps I will bring an NPC along if I struggle a little here immediately, but yeah, rolling is good. Actually, this boss is particularly bad for my particular playstyle because tanking him is really hard. He just is real aggressive and hits hard and just blows through your stability rather easily. Kind of the Artorias in the game in that respect, although it's even harder to guard against him than it is against Artorias. We'll try this without burning one of our bright bugs or anything like that in the initial attempt. One thing that's helpful to know here is that walking through the fog gate does not immediately start the boss fight. Things don't really get cracking until you approach that sword in the middle. But as we make our approach, ladies and gentlemen, quite possibly the nastiest boss in all of Dark Souls 2, the Fume Knight. Now this isn't just some random dude. The Fume Knight is actually someone we have heard much about in the greater lore. Look at how much that giant sword of his takes off in terms of stability. Stamina, if you will. So I was saying the Fume Knight is someone that we have heard quite a bit about. Now, can you guess who it might be? There are two big hints for us. There's the fact that we've found one of his artifacts in an earlier part of Broom Tower. And also, think about someone who had nowhere else to go. Someone who was kind of driven out of duty, and so wanted to become Nadalia's Champion of the Dark, to have someone new to serve. Any hints yet? Or any guesses yet, rather, I should say? There are obviously hints. Well, if you haven't figured it out when we get to the end of the fight and get to look at some of his equipment, you'll learn. Now then, you can see he has a fairly broad moveset. And what you want to do is not try and retaliate when he's just swinging his small sword around, because he can always follow that up. Actually, his dashing thrusts with the smaller sword are an okay time to retaliate, like that. But generally speaking, you want to retaliate after he's used his Ultra Greatsword, because that always leaves him a little more vulnerable. And he can swing a little bit to the side or behind him, so that's something to be careful of. Also, his slashes with the Ultra Greatsword are a little more telegraphed than the others, so it's usually a little easier to dodge roll those. Now, if this is all there was to the fight, it probably wouldn't be so bad. I mean, it would certainly not be a cakewalk, but it would be manageable. But no, there is going to be a second phase, and the second phase is when things get severely fuckerish. Also, you want to make sure he's in a vulnerable state, recovering or what have you, when you need a heal up, because he is very, very aggressive about punishing heals. Anytime he's active and ready to fight, and you try and drink an Estus, he will almost always hit you with that nasty overhead smash of his, and you will hurt a lot for it. Oh! It's power-up time. Fortunately, you do get a few free hits on him when that happens. He has now buffed his sword with both fire and dark, so almost no matter what your loadout is, you're going to take some chip damage from him when you block. Oh, that was bad timing. So now he has lots of nasty regulars, and he also has 2 special moves, one of which is this AoE plus fireballs thing, which is reasonably easy to avoid, thankfully, which is good because it hurts horribly if you don't dodge. And he's got that slow, roughly 360-degree swing that you saw a moment ago. One thing to bear in mind is that probably the best time to punish is when he does thrust attacks or at the end of his combos. Pretty much any time you see him do a thrust attack, he can't immediately follow that up. So that's a good time to get your strikes in. And when he does that big slow 360, that tends to be an excellent time to dodge through it, because it's nice and telegraphed, it's slow. Not too bad overall. You just gotta be careful you don't dodge a little too early or a little too late. Ooh, bad scene. I ate the AoE there, but thankfully got a little time to... Oh, my dodge time is not good on the special moves today. But all in all, oh, that didn't work out. Oh, that chip damage is starting to build up. Need an opportunity to get an Estus in. There we go. Oh! Ate the AoE there, that's not good. I'm gonna pop a shroom so I get some healing over time here. Oh! Oh, I ate all of that. Yeah, I would have been in good shape if I had just backed up a little bit further there. But you know what? For a first warm-up, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I can't get too upset about it. Of course, that's going to leave me hollowed again. Don't want to burn through my effigies too fast. I mean, I have a lot of them, but they won't last forever. Oh, you know what? I really should have put a summon sign down. This would be a really good time to do some jolly cooperation. But oh well. Maybe on my next death. Because it is entirely possible that I will have another death. Alright, it's going to take him a moment to warp in. Let's go ahead and make sure we get our souls back. Not that I had very many of them. We'll get our 1 free hit in. Gotta be ready for those rolls. Oh, one thing of note there that can actually be a little bit helpful is that when he smashes his sword straight down, you can see it starts to glow with embers, sort of. Oh, that went all wrong. Following the big smash, when his sword is glowing with embers, he cannot move into his second phase. If you're really good about safely baiting out the overhead smash and making sure he stays in that glowing sword phase, you can actually get through the entire fight without him ever going into his second phase. So if you absolutely cannot deal with the second phase, that's one way of avoiding it entirely. Of course, actually getting through the fight that way. Oh, he has a 2-hit combo with the big sword. I don't know if I've ever even seen him do that. Something to be wary of once again. As I was saying, if you can actually get through the fight with him in glowy sword status, you're probably good enough to actually do the second phase, so that may be not of entirely brilliant value. Also, yes, he sometimes goes into a blocking phase. That is not a parry phase, thankfully. He cannot parry and riposte you. Ah, my dodge time is so bad. Thankfully it worked out that time, or I might well have died. Oh, it's go time. I'm gonna pop a bug. Or I would pop a bug if I didn't get immediately punished for it. Double chug! Alright, Mr. Gas. Oh, God. He recovers so fast sometimes. Those yells of his are intimidating. Oh, man, that went all wrong. Yeah, I believe FromSoft at one point was actually taking stats on what was happening to people who were playing online on their servers, and I think eventually the ratio improved, but early on, not long after the release of the Crown of the Old Iron King DLC, the failure rate against the Fume Knight was something like 96%. Yeah, well over 90% of people who took him on were just getting smashed. Well, let me go ahead and put a soapstone down here. We'll see if we can do a little co-op, and if I have a successful co-op, I will show it off later. Just for the sheer hilarity of it, let's go ahead and take on some Iron Warriors while we're waiting. There's gotta be someone who could use a hand around here. Oh, I can't believe that didn't hit me. Not gonna knock it, though. This is also an okay opportunity to practice my dodge rolling time, because Lord knows against the Fume Knight I could really use an improvement in that category. Oh, am I gonna die here? That'd be really embarrassing. Ooh, the phone's ringing. Well, that didn't work. Fine, we'll try it again. Oh wow, I thought there were only 2 of these guys. Are there more than that? Come on, someone's gotta need more help with old Fumey. Lord knows I could use it. Oh wow. If we were really, really weird, we could now power stance smelter hammers. Well, we don't have the stats for it. Actually, power stancing smelter hammers should be impossible, mathematically, because stats always top out at 99, and 99 is actually not enough, according to the usual power stancing formula. However, once you hit 99 strength, the game just kind of shrugs, throws up its hands, and says, you can power stance anything you want as long as it's compatible. So if you do have 99 strength, it does actually work. Alright, if we can find another Iron Warrior, we'll kill one more. And if that doesn't work out, then we will go ahead and take on the Fumigator one more time. Any further attempts I need to make, we will go ahead and do off-screen. Maybe I will do a death montage if it gets particularly wacky. Oh no, I guess there are only two of the Iron Warriors here. They were just both on the same side. Thought there was one on one side, one on the other side, but, well, we all know my memory is far from perfectly reliable. Alright, we rest. We look around, we hope for a summon sign. We do not appear to be getting one. Usually if anyone wants to put a summon sign down, it will be right here in the bonfire room. People usually don't put them right outside the gate. But no, I don't think we have any helpful souls today. Also, I think I am using the best shield for the job. I'm not 100% sure of that. If we used the Germ Great Shield, we would be able to block 100% of the fire damage, but less of the dark. And I don't think that would work out for us in the long run, but again, not 100% positive. It ought to be a near thing anyway, so whatever. We'll just keep going ahead with our Havel Great Shield and try and make the best of it. Oh, I want to bring Kerillian along at least once. Gotta give old Kerillian a chance to show us what he can do in battle, which, under these particular circumstances, is generally not very much. But hey. Come, wise teacher, let us go into the blender together. Alright. Get our souls. We get our hits. We get ready to rumble. He uses the Ultra Greatsword. We take our opportunity to attack. He goes after Kerillian. We take our opportunity to attack. Our stamina's not in great shape. We recover that while we can. Yeah, you can see Kerillian just getting hurt really fast. He does not have good health. Oh! Don't forget about the backswing there, Salad. Free smash. Free smash again. Gotta watch my stamina. Getting a little careless with it at times. Oh, totally whiffed. Yeah, this is definitely not going well for our buddy Kerillian. Ooh, I got a critical there. Nice. Well, Kerillian is drawing fire for us at some pretty good times. Credit where due. Okay, I need stamina very, very badly. And that's it for Kerillian. The Fume Knight is actually hurting pretty bad, though. I'm kind of impressed with this. Let's go ahead and put some healing over... Oh! Yeah, I would be very wise to take my own advice about only healing when he's vulnerable. Alright folks, I am going to go quiet for a little while, I think, and then we will do post-commentary when I actually succeed in taking down the Fume Knight. Hopefully that will not be too distant in the future. Post-commentary begins here. While I was fiddling around between attempts, I did find this nice little bonus hidden in one of the ashen corpses. A few free chunks is never anything I'll turn my nose up at. And now for the successful attempt. In some of my less successful efforts, I did find Steelheart Ellie to be more of an assistance than I quite anticipated. She does fuck all for damage even when she goes into attack mode, but we never really summon NPC assistants for the damage output. We summon them so that we can get the boss off of our back for a moment or two. And in the second phase of the Fume Knight battle, that is extremely helpful. He does get a health bonus out of it, but just having a moment or two to heal or recover stamina or even get in a hit or two without him immediately trying to retaliate against you, well, very handy thing indeed. Now, something I did not mention during the live commentary was that old Fumi has extremely good resistances to basically everything. His magic defense, lightning defense, fire defense, dark defense are all pretty top-notch. I think he might be a little more vulnerable to strike than other forms of damage, but in the end I just wanted to go with what I know, and I stuck with my greatsword. The additional magic defense from a basic magic weapon buff is not going to do a whole lot extra to him, but hey, every little bit counts, right? Now right now, when he's got his smaller sword on hand, the presence of Ellie is honestly as much of a liability as anything, because she makes things a little less predictable, and she also doesn't really help in terms of inflicting any damage. Like, look at how absolutely garbage her hits are. She does like under 50 damage with each strike, and that's when she attacks at all, which in the standard NPC habit is not all that terribly often. But really, it's not the first phase that is the big problem when dealing with Fume Knight, at least for me. Some people actually do find the first phase to be harder. No, it's now that things start to get really hairy, and I'm gonna pop a green blossom so I can get a little stamina recovery speed up there. Stamina management is very tough against this guy, because he does stay on you, and whether you're blocking or rolling, you use up a lot of your stamina that way. And of course, you always have to have a little handy to be able to give some damage back, as well as keep yourself alive. And now it's when Ellie starts to really prove her worth, because I can get in behind Fume Knight while he's attacking. I can step back and get a little healing in when the mood strikes me. And he's not always constantly in my face, making me react fast at all times. Now, once he really gets rolling in his second phase, he does assloads of damage, of course, and that's bad for me, but it also tends to mean any NPC assistance gets taken out pretty quickly. As you can see there, it is possible to stagger him from time to time, but not really a reliable thing, just a good opportunity to get a little extra damage in when the opportunity arises. One other thing I should mention is that, in addition to his thrusting attacks, whenever he does a vertical smash like that, that is a pretty good opportunity to get in a hit or two, as are whenever you successfully dodge one of his special attacks, like the Fire Orb Fan or the big 360 slash. Almost there, almost there. Just can't choke now. And finally. Whew. We now return you to your regularly scheduled live commentary. Whew! Well, that took some doing. But at long, long last, the Fume Knight is down. Just like Artorias, that is a really, really nasty fight, but it is a very enjoyable one, very intense, fast-paced and exciting and all that good kind of stuff. So we do get an additional Nadalia nugget there, which means the total that we're eventually going to need to collect is 12. But we're still going to have to get one more Smelter Wedge, and there is an optional boss that we're going to need to tackle in order to obtain that. For the moment, though, let's take a quick look at the soul of the Fume Knight. Soul of the Fume Knight that guards the dungeon of Broom Tower. Rame was a distinguished knight who became infatuated with the Bride of Ash, and settled in this land of smoke and fog. So, yep, the Fume Knight. Queen Nadalia's champion of the dark is none other than the rebel Rame, source of the baneful bird ring that we obtained, and also the rebel's great shield that we picked up earlier in the game. After being defeated by Velstadt, presumably he was exiled from Drang Lake and came here to Broom Tower and entered the service of Nadalia. Very, very tough guy. I wonder if he was more powerful in his living state or after being powered up by Nadalia. Well, given the presence of the flaming and dark-imbued sword, I'm guessing it's probably the latter. Anyway, one additional nifty Easter egg here is, if you're going to take on Rame and you come in wearing some of Velstadt's gear, I think the helmet might be enough. You might also need to wear some of his armor, I'm not sure. But in any case, if you come in looking like Velstadt, Rame will be very pissed off and will go into his second phase immediately. So if you're the sort of crazy person who wants to fight him with his little sword thrown away and his big sword powered up the whole time, well, there is a way you can do that. And this way is now open. And at last we can see the abandoned body of Nadalia. And you know, I can't really tell for sure, but what she's wearing here might be the tattered remnants of a bridal gown. Ah, the poor Bride of Ash, pining away and eventually surrendering her flesh for a king that she never even met. Well, may things go better for you next time, Nadalia. Still gonna destroy your last body, though. Anyway, there's also something we can pick up from the mortal remains of the Bride of Ash here, and that is the crown of the Old Iron King. Just like the crown of the Sunken King, a faint heat lingers within it. So let's take a look at that. The crown of the Old Iron King who once ruled this land. The king sunk below the scorching iron, met the one whose name must never be repeated, and became Icarus Earth. But these were events of long ago, and today no one even remembers the king's name. This is perhaps the best crown of the lot with respect to its actual value as equipment. Reason being, it has a very interesting effect. It slowly regenerates your spell uses. If you're wearing that on your noggin, every now and then, as long as you avoid casting spells, you will occasionally get your castings back. At regular intervals, I think something like every few minutes. Anyway, I did find Steelheart Ellie to be more use there than I anticipated, but I am a little chuffed that I managed to do it without human assistance, which really does make a huge difference. Anyway, as before, we are gonna get a little new dialogue? We are going to get a little new dialogue from Old King Vendrick after having obtained another crown, so let me just head on back to the Undead Crypt, and I will rejoin you there in a few moments. Well, alright folks, because of all the dying I did against Rame and all of the unsuccessful Jolly cooperation I did, I honestly have no idea at this point how much actual runtime we're gonna have after all the editing. I mean, my raw video is almost at 2 hours at this point, but I'm sure a fair amount of that is going to get tossed out. So I think we're going to cut it right here, and I do apologize if this ends up being a rather short video. In any case, though, we got the fume night down, and that's a very important bit of business. We do still have one additional rather nasty boss to deal with in Broom Tower before we can finally settle Nadalia's hash once and for all. But we will take care of all that next time, and we'll also see what we can do with this soul we picked up from Rain the Rebel. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for 2015. I hope your New Year's Eve is satisfying, whether you spend it at home or go out carousing. Just don't do anything I wouldn't do. Of course, that gives you plenty of leeway. Anyway, folks, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for your viewership and support for this year, and here's to more good times in the next. Take care, everybody, and I will see you next year. As we prepare to say farewell to the 2K15er, I would like to say thank you to all of the usual suspects, including Justin Carpenter, Noden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Darren Chow, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Argyle Jelly, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, August Fortnite, and the rest of the gang. Thanks as well to all recent subscribers, anyone who's been here all year, and those of you who have been around since the very beginning. It's a hell of a motivator, and I always appreciate your thoughts whenever you care to weigh in. So thank you very much for that, and I hope you have a very happy new year, and I'll see you again very soon.